Hello everyone, my name is Arthur Ross, I play the viola, and this is the Arthur Ross Video Podcast. It's been a little while, I know, a few months. Same podcast, new name. I believe the old name was the New Video Series. I didn't really know what I wanted to name it. And after months of contemplation, the Arthur Ross Video Podcast is what I came up with. For now, we'll see how long that lasts, but it's good enough at the moment. A reminder of the purpose of this podcast. It is opening the door to the practice room, at least my practice room, this practice room. Usually when you see musicians online showing what they do, they're really just kind of showing off. They are giving you their best performance. They're putting their best foot forward. And I wanted to do something different for a multitude of reasons. I wanted to open the door to the practice room and actually show how the sausage is made, the nitty-gritty details, the less than perfect preparation to the final performance. So, opening the door to the practice room. You're going to see, as I said, the nitty-gritty. You're going to see playing that's not perfect. You're going to see the process of how an artist makes the music that they make. By the way, what I'm looking at on the stand here is the piece I'm going to be talking about today, Stravinsky's Elegy for solo viola. So that's what I'm looking at when I look over here. A bit about the format of this podcast. Each podcast episode, by the way, this is episode 12, I think, episode 12. Each episode, I will focus on a particular piece. And obviously, I'm not going to be able to perfect a single piece in a single episode. So each piece that I work on will cross multiple episodes. But to keep it interesting, and because I'm working on all sorts of things all at the same time, each episode will be out of order, so to speak. Episode 12 will be about Stravinsky's Elegy. Episode 13 will be about something else. So I may not get back to the Stravinsky until episode 15 or 17. And hopefully, over time, you'll be able to reconstruct each piece or each event that I'm working on across multiple episodes. At least that's the plan for now. Now, to the Elegy. Stravinsky wrote this as a solo viola composition. But one of the interesting things about this piece is that it's written with counterpoint. That's a fancy musical term. It means that you have multiple voices, multiple musical lines that are being played at the same time by the same instrument. The multiple lines, just like a conversation, move and weave with one another. And so one of the challenges of this composition is weaving the various lines, the multiple lines, when I'm only one person with only one instrument. I'll explain some of the details. And I think in future episodes, I'll actually show you the music and sort of do a cursory analysis and show you the various lines and counterpoints and how that all works. So in fact, let's start this way. I'm going to go through the first section of this elegy probably measure by measure or phrase by phrase. I have studied this piece before and I've heard it many times, but I've never played it. So as I said, opening doors of the practice room, this is the first time I'm actually playing it with the viola. I've been playing it in my head and studying it, but you're going to see the first time on the instrument. So let's start with the first phrase and we'll go from there. This is, by the way, the one of the lines. Actually, I'll play the first phrase as it's written the best I can, and then break it down a little bit. First phrase. All right. First time, as I said. Let's try this again. All right. Because you're playing multiple lines, it complicates the way you play it technically dramatically. Dramatically complicates things. Let me play the lines individually, and so you get a sense of what I'm talking about. Let's start with, and I'll refer to the lines based on their range. There's the top line, and there's the bottom line. I'm going to play the bottom line first. Let's try this again. And now the top line that's happening at the same time as this line I just played. So when you play them together, so the first phrase, many things to work on. Intonation, meaning the actual pitch, the sound, the quality of the sound itself, and further down the line, how do you, because I'm playing both parts essentially, imagine this counterpoint thing, imagine that this would actually be written more easily for two instruments. So how do I, as one player with one instrument, make it sound as though two people are playing? How do you emphasize one line over the other while you're playing both lines at the same time? So much to work on. Let's do the second phrase. Now, one interesting thing about music. Music is divided into sentences or phrases. A complete thought with a beginning, middle, and end. And then the various thoughts or sentences are strung together. Most of the time, the performer or interpreter has to figure out the phrases. Sometimes it's easy to figure out, sometimes not. Stravinsky actually indicates the way he wants you to phrase. It indicates where a phrase begins and where a phrase ends. Probably, and we'll talk more about this as I'm showing you the music and sort of analyzing it with you in future episodes. Probably because the way he's divided the phrases are somewhat unusual. Sometimes you'll have a very long phrase followed by a very short one, which is what we have here. So I'm going to play now the second phrase. That's it. Clearly indicated this is exactly what he wants. All right. First and second phrase. Phrase 1 and 2. One other thing to note, actually there's many things to note, but the next thing to note about this particular piece and the counterpoint. This counterpoint is dissonant. I think it's partly what makes it an elegy. It's slow, somber, and the counterpoint or the interplay between the two lines or two voices is dissonant. It is pungent, strident. A conversation between two people can be consonant or calm, beautiful, lovely, or it can be an argument. It can be ugly, strident, or dissonant. In this case, with this piece, the counterpoint in general is of the latter kind. I imagine it as the argument is over and the halting conversation between the two people after the feelings have been hurt and the lack of energy after you've just expended it yelling. The mood is somber and dark and tired. First two phrases again. Let's try this again. First time, remember? All right, let's do one more phrase. This third phrase, clearly indicated by Stravinsky, is only slightly longer than the second, which is much shorter than the first. Oh, by the way, with this second phrase, let me play you each line separately. First, the top line, second phrase. That's it. Once again. And what goes along with that, again. So, together. And one more time, top line. And then the bottom line. Together. You get the idea. And actually, that's starting to flow a little bit better. As I was saying, that complication, the technical complication of having to play multiple lines at the same time, the way that manifests physically, the actual complication is moving more than one finger at a time. Imagine, this is actually a very good analogy. Imagine you have two tennis balls and you're trying to throw the tennis ball to hit two different targets in two different spots at the same time. So you have two tennis balls in your hand, you throw both balls at the same time, and you're trying to hit two different targets at the same time, throwing at the same time. That's kind of what's happening with the fingers. All right, let's do phrase 1 and 2 with that in mind. And yeah, let's play those two. Part of solving that technical issue as a performer is just playing it. It's just playing it over and over again and getting your fingers used to targeting those multiple targets. go to phrase 3. Here's the top line. Once again. And the bottom line of phrase 3, happening at the same time as what you just heard. Once again. All right, let's try this together. Not bad for the first time. Let's try it again. Okay, let's do phrase 2 and 3 together. Remember, top line of the second phrase. And then the bottom line. Top line of the third phrase. And then bottom line of the third phrase. Okay, second and third phrase. So this goes. Let's try it again. Once again. And then all three phrases together. Then I think we'll call it for today. All right, so you get the idea. There is much work to be done on this, as you can hear. Again, opening the door to the practice room, showing how the sausage is made. My purpose here, and I've said this before, is not to teach anyone how to play. This is not a master class. I want to show a general audience you guys the process this particular artist goes through in the creation of his art, with the hopes that by showing the nitty gritty, we can discover together parallels in your life. At least that's the plan. So, thank you for watching. Again, I'm Arthur Ross. This is the Arthur Ross Video Podcast. Same podcast, new name. And hopefully I will see you in the next episode. Hit the like or the subscribe button, depending on where you're viewing this. And I will see you next time. Take care.